Welcome back. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are ready for the semifinals of the 2005 World Championships. We're going to start out on the match between Katsuhiro Mori and Tomohiro Kaji. They're both running the deck of the tournament, in my opinion, the Gazi Glare deck that the Japanese team put together. It's green-white, it has Vitsugazi City Tree, it has Selesnya Guild Mage, builds up a bunch of tokens, Glare of Subdual, comes out, locks down the game. Their mirror match is it should be interesting. It could go either way because obviously it's a mirror match. The other semifinal, Akira Asahara versus Frank Karsten. Looks like the players are ready to begin, so let's go see who wins the semifinals of the World Championships. Hello and welcome to the 2005 Magic the Gathering World Championships. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and it is time for the semifinals. That's the traveling trophy. One of these four players is going to have his name inscribed on it. Will it be Katsuhiro Mori, the Japanese Rookie of the Year, sort of the first big title that country ever won on the international level? He's playing Tomohiro Kaji, another great Japanese player. That's the match we're going to start on. We're also going to be bringing you coverage of Akira Asahara and Frank Karsten. There's Katsu Mori. What do you think of Katsu Mori as a player, Brian? You've been running the Grand Prix circuit, doing a lot of the coverage out here. How good is he?
Katsu Mori is a great deck designer. He's not as he hasn't been as technically excellent as some of the other players. I mean, he's always been more of a deck designer. This is a real big coming out for him as far as play. He's always been the guy that he's one of the guys Kenji credits with his
Kenji Samura is now the first Japanese player of the year, and Katsu Mori, that's the man who built the decks.
So I think Kenji's been considered the better player.
Okay, well, tell me about Tomohiro Kaji then.
Tomohiro Kaji was about 2 seasons ago was in the running for a Rookie of the Year title.
Okay.
He's been a fixture on the Grand Prix circuit. Has recently won a Grand Prix, and he's just a great player, really interesting deck designer.
And you think he's the next big Japanese player?
I definitely think he's the next big Japanese player. I've been watching him for a while, and I think he's just fantastic. I think he's got an excellent approach to the game. He's very dedicated. He works on the game, practices the game several hours a day.
Oh, he's also got Umezawa Jite in play.
With a very professional work. See, that's what practice will do for you.
Turn 1 Llanowar Elf, turn 2 Jite. Ooh, but a Pithing Needle from Katsu Mori.
Katsu Mori's obviously been practicing as well.
Katsu played a Wood Elf. These players are, it's funny when you watch the Japanese play against each other, especially against a lot of other players who maybe they have a little bit less respect for. They sort of take the time to give their opponents time to make mistakes. And I think against each other, they assume their opponent's going to play optimally, and they're not even looking for those opportunities to give your opponent a chance to make a mistake.
Mori's one of the fastest players I've ever watched play Magic. When he's really rolling.
Yeah, when he's rolling, he is. The funny thing is, like, when he slows down, sometimes when his confidence is suffering a little bit, he'll actually slow down and pause over the simplest decisions. I've just noticed that a couple times where you can almost tell how good he feels mentally by the speed at which he's playing. When he's playing fast, he's always very comfortable.
Is that a
that is
Kodama
of the North Tree. Turn 3. Yeah? Turn 4.
Turn 4.
Turn 4, Kodama of the North Tree. Gigantic 6/4 untargetable monster. Kaji's got just a Llanowar Elf. He thought he was in good shape with that Jite, but the Pithing Needle shuts that off.
Well, he's holding a Seed Spark. One of the things about this deck is they're main decking Seed Spark, so they can deal with the Pithing Needle pretty handily, among others.
He's also got a Congregation at Dawn. Does have another land.
Right now he's trying to decide if he wants to congregate at the end of the turn.
He Seed Sparks at the end of the turn.
Yep.
18, 17. Yep.
It seemed like Katsu's Pithing Needle beat the Seed Spark into the graveyard. Because he knew it was coming. Once Katsu started thinking during his end step. It's like, I know what he's thinking about. I get the same cards in my deck. Now, are these card-for-card identical decks?
Let's take a look. They look different number of forests. The land base is slightly different. 2 Seed Sparks, 2 Congregations, 3 Glares, 3 Needles. Same number of Yoseis. 1 slight difference on the Arashis. Both have 4 Locks and High Rocks. Both have 4 Wood Elves, Land Orals. There's subtle differences, but I mean it's 1 or 2
so
cards.
Like 1 or 2. What are the 1 or 2 cards?
Okay, cards are 1 Llanowar Elf fewer in Katsuhiro Mori's deck than in Kaji's deck.
And he's up in Arashi.
He is up in Arashi.
Interesting. That's kind of a big change.
4 Locks and Hierarchs.
Arashi.
Yep. Although he does have 1 Bird of Paradise also that it doesn't look like. Nope. 1 Bird of Paradise that Kaji does not have. Also 6 forests versus 5 forests.
Okay, so Katsumori turned a land into a bird, and he turned a Llanowar elf, land into a bird and a elf into an Arashi. So he effectively turned a land into an Arashi?
That's what I'm just checking right now. 8, 12, 16, 17.
Locks on and Hierarch comes down for Kaji. Gets to gain 4 life and get the big 4/4 into play.
They're both playing 23 lands.
Kanamas of the North Tree imploded, of course. Oh, is that Glare?
Glare of Subdual and Yosei for Mori. So that effectively shuts off the Jitei. As long as Mori can keep his creatures on the table, the Jitei is effectively negated now.
Have we gotten a look at Kaji's hand?
I have not.
Yeah, if Kaji's got nothing better to do than equip the Jitei.
Well, he gets in for 5 by doing that.
Yeah, because he does have Mori down to 9. Maybe that's worth spending the mana on. And then here comes another elf. Oh, and a Pithing Needle.
Pithing Needle on Glare of Subdual.
The Glare of Subdual. Pithing Needle in the mirror match has got to be weird. It's like, I have that card in my deck too, but yours is in play, so...
Both have 3 Pithing Needles, both have 3 Glare of Subduals.
Do you attack with Yosei if you're Katsumori? Do you need it on defense?
Oh,
Jitei may start picking up some counters if Katsu doesn't have an answer to it right now.
I think he needs to leave the Yosei back right now.
He's got Congregation, Arashi, Celestian Guild Mage, and 1 other card.
Thinking about just playing Arashi, having an additional fatty on the board.
It's not bad.
Or maybe he's thinking about cycling it, killing his Yosei, and tapping the board down for 2 turns.
Yosei swings.
Yosei.
Kaji falls to 16.
These players must be so mentally exhausted by the end of this season. They've been playing so many matches of Magic, so many Grand Prix on the Japanese circuit, lots of gifts decks. These guys always play very complicated, control-based decks.
You know, I was struck by that when the standard event got started. It used to be years ago that the American players would all show up for the Pro Tour with a blue-white control deck, or some sort of control deck. Because they figured we're the best players in the world. We just need to play control, with counter spells and, card drawing, you have the ability to outplay your opponent. This weekend, all the Japanese players showed up with blue-white control decks. It was Extended Day, I'm thinking of. In Extended, they were all playing no-stick. They were all playing blue-white control. With the top 8 on the line, they're like, we're the best players, so we just counterspells, some answers. Reactive decks should allow the best players to win. And who are the best players in the world right now?
It's clearly the Japanese.
It was just a very interesting difference. And you had American players running like Blue-Green Madness and Affinity and Goblins. They were just all the beatdown players, hoping they could get the lucky draw they needed. It was very interesting changing of the guard, really. I was very struck by that, wandering around on the Extended Day.
And like you touched on earlier, it's something that really, changing the guard that seemed to be initialized when Katsumori won the Rookie of the Year title. I think he was the first Japanese player to win in some sort of Pro Tour title.
I think that was the same year that Fujita got into the top 8.
Right, and I think it's also the same year that Jin won the APAC Championships, and Katsumori finished third in that APAC Championships.
No, I mean, in recent years, there hasn't been a top 8 without a Japanese player. I think it's been over 2 years since we had a top 8 without a Japanese player in it.
I couldn't even remember. Even Berlin 2 years ago was Jin a whole season.
Yeah, they've just been playing spectacular Magic, but you know what? Until this weekend, they had not won a Player of the Year race.
Had not won World Championships.
They've still not won a World Championships, either the individual or the team competition. This weekend could be the final and ultimate coronation of the nation of Japan as the Magic powerhouse that many people have sort of been suggesting maybe it is. A couple hours from now, we may be saying definitively Japan is the Magic powerhouse.
And the first sweep by a nation since 2000.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. No country has ever swept Player of the Year, World's Team title, World Individual title, with the exception of the United States.
Right. 2000 when John Finkel ran the table.
I believe the USA's done it several times.
Oh, really?
I think so. Well, I believe they've done it more than once.
Run through the years.
97, 98, Finkel was Player of the Year. Selden was World Champion, and the U.S. team won.
Okay.
Schlemmer won the year before that. I mean, I think year 2 they might have done it too. Like the first Player of the Year Long was Player of the Year? No, Schlemmer won Worlds that year. The U.S. has done it at least twice. I would guess 3 times. But nobody else has ever done it. The closest anyone came was in Berlin, where Kai Buda was the Player of the Year, and Daniel Zink wound up winning Worlds. The German team was actually playing for the World's team title, but they were defeated by Team USA. It could have that same setup today. It could be Team USA trying to preserve the uniqueness of American domination of Worlds.
Right. And then until Gadiel Slifer won Philadelphia, that was the last big win by an American at a high-level event. Is that correct?
It had, yeah, they hadn't won. Yeah, they hadn't won a Pro Tour since Team USA. Justin Gary getting that monkey off his back finally. It was the last international title the U.S. won until Gadiel. Meanwhile, Katsumori has got a couple fatties in play. He's now got a jeté of his own. He's no longer got his glare. Oh, he's got glare of the duel, but it's being held in check by a pithing needle.
I'm sorry, I missed how he killed Kaji's jeté.
He imploded.
I'm sorry, he just killed it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a jeté of his own, and that implodes the jetés. Now it's his fatties against a couple elves, a couple tokens, and a hierarch.
He's behind on the life race though, even though he's got the bigger guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of well-placed chump blocks by Kaji, and he could sneak through for what he needs. So Mori's got to be very careful here about how he attacks.
Right.
Oh, his hand's pretty good though.
Yeah, I guess the U.S. has only done it twice. Bude sort of monopolized the Player of the Year race for a while, so only Germany could pull it off. Yeah, the year Finkel was Player of the Year, they did it, and the year Maher was Player of the Year, they did it. But I don't think
98 and 2000.
Yeah, since then it's been Bude, Nassif.
It's a little sad about Kai this weekend.
A little bit. He is now officially off the gravy train. Kai Bude chose not to come to this World Championships. Sort of pretty much retired from Magic at this point.
And he'll be back in 2 years.
I think it's hard to actually retire from Magic. I don't know how many people actually ever really quit the game and walk away. It's just the game's too good. It drags you back.
Ivan Nitter, winner of Pro Tour Nice, was here.
Yeah, he went to Norwegian Nationals on a lark. What was the story you were telling me there? His buddy just showed up.
Ricard Osterberg, actually, winner of Pro Tour New Orleans, wanted to go.
Hey, I want to go to Nationals. Here's your deck.
Here's your deck. Come on, you got about 5 hours to get ready with it, and that was exactly what Nitter needed to make the national team. He actually play tested the heck out of Magic for about 2 months coming into this event, and he had a pretty good weekend.
If he's going to come, he was going to take it seriously.
Yeah.
So he had Norway playing for a spot in the team finals in the last round of the team competition.
Were they top 4, top 6?
I forget. They probably finished 4th or 5th or 6th.
Yeah, so it was a nice finish for him. He said he had a great time this weekend.
So yeah, Kai Bude has retired from Magic, but still lots of great players out there.
So a couple of old faces playing this weekend. Darwin was playing this weekend.
Sure.
Alan Comer was playing this weekend, which was just a lot of fun to see. He loves playing Magic just so much. Karsten's sounds like Karsten's up one game at the other table. He had a really interesting strategy he was talking to us about in the over lunch. He looked at Akira Asahara's deck list and realized that the only way he could lose, barring the One-Zers weirding, was to form of the dragon. It's the only thing that.
Yeah, Asahara's playing an Enduring Ideal deck. His only victory conditions are Form of the Dragon and potentially Confiscate. So Karsten said to himself, if I just never play any Confiscate targets, then he's going to have to go get Form of the Dragon. That's going to take him down to 5, and I can just either Vengeance out of Kokoshu or play 2 Kokoshus, or he can just Dragon him as soon as he goes down to 5 from Form of the Dragon. It's effectively impossible for Asahara to win if Karsten just does nothing except wait for Enduring Ideal to resolve.
Of course, there was nothing Asahara could do to win in the first match, and he drew his one Besiju all 3 games that he won.
Well,
and that was enough for the win.
No, he did not solve Karsten's Game 1 strategy.
Game 1, it sounded pretty overwhelmingly in Karsten's favor.
Yeah, no, it's pretty smart. Karsten solved that matchup really nicely. Actually, it's really weird when the do-nothing plan is correct.
Actually, a number of our readers, if you look through the message boards, I saw that a number of people posted similar strategies.
Really?
They noticed that immediately.
Oh, that's cool.
All he's got is Form of the Dragon. He can just hit him with 1 dragon, and that'll be it.
So Frank Karsten did exactly that, and he is up 1-0 on Akira Asahara.
So we're in
you
the
know
middle.
what else? I would like to congratulate Frank Karsten on finishing Game 1 before this Game 1 finished.
Oh, okay. Big hand.
Hey, Frank. Congregation at Dawn being resolved by Tomohiro Kaji.
So he's got a Yosei, a
Wood Elf, and an Arashi. Who's just going to negate the 2 legends? I guess he's the one with the Hierarch.
He might Arashi and then play his Yosei a couple turns later.
Could, but he's facing an active Arashi. I mean, Arashi kills Yosei. Gatsu thought he knew what was going on. He expected the Arashis to implode each other.
Is Arashi legendary?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why.
That's why it has a proper name.
Mori
and
was
a comma and a the.
Mori was expecting. He's expecting Kaji to play the Arashi. He just started putting his in the graveyard. He's like, well, that's obviously the play. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Nothing makes you question to play more than when your opponent assumes you're going to do it.
Kaji smells a trap. He's also holding a Jitte, so you might be considering playing it and swinging in and seeing what...
Seems like imploding the legends is better, though, right?
He might want to kill that Selesnya.
Is he willing to trade a token to do it? A token and a turn.
Certainly willing to trade a token for it. Turn is another issue.
Right.
So we're past the brusque portion of play. Both players are settling in to consider their options. Kaji has to decide between Arashi and Jitte, and he goes with Jitte.
Umezawa Jite in play. Kaji puts it onto a token and just sends the token and the Hierarch in. That's interesting. So he's willing to trade the Hierarch for either of Mori's legends.
Sure.
It would die 4-4 versus 5-5, but we're going to get some Jite counters, so
exactly.
one counter would finish off either Yosei or Arashi. A nice little play.
Now Mori has to make a decision. Does he knows there's an Arashi, or he suspects there's an Arashi in Kaji's hand. He has to decide which creature he wants to throw away. He's at 8, so.
Yeah, he can't really afford to just take Hierarch.
So he's no doubt thinking about the Arashi in hand.
Mm-hmm. Well, he doesn't actually know the order.
Right. So
puts the Yosei in front of the Hierarch. Kaji winds up with 2 counters on the Jite. I'm sure he'll use 1 to finish off Yosei.
Yes. Wait.
Kaji is putting, Mori is putting the tokens on the stack.
Damage result, yeah, I'm thinking.
Damage is resolved, but he's not done thinking.
Does he have a enchantment removal or artifact removal in his hand?
I'm not sure.
What's going on? Oh, he's going to kill...
Kills his own Yosei.
What does that accomplish?
I'm not really sure. I think Kaji ends up with an extra token that way.
He kills a token, but yeah, Kaji
ends up with an extra token on his Yosei.
Extra counter.
A counter on his Jite.
Weird. Now he can kill the
Guild Mage. Now he can kill the Guild Mage. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, I don't understand that at all.
But no, that was the game.
Oh, that was the game. Katsumori won that?
Yes.
He untaps, he plays North Tree, Kaji is locked down from the Yosei, and then North Tree...
So he didn't want to take the chance
that
Kaji
wins or Mori wins? Mori wins, right? Yeah, Katsuhiro Mori wins. Wow.
Even our spotter was a little surprised by that. No, Mori didn't want to take. He didn't want to leave the option of which creature Kaji killed. He wanted to make sure the Yosei died, because he knows that Kaji's tapped out for 2 turns and he can get his. And there's nothing he's going to be able to do about Kadama of the North Tree. He's going to get in with Arashi. He's going to get in with Kadama, and that's going to be the game. I guess he just wanted to make sure Yosei died.
Wow. So it didn't matter that he did it as a response to the counters, he just knew he wanted to do it.
Yeah. And I guess maybe he wanted the counters, maybe he wanted him to kill Selesnya Guildmage. He didn't want him to be able to gain the life. I haven't done the math. Maybe it's exactly
that's interesting. Did Kaji mess up then?
I don't think so.
I mean, Kaji used up both his Jite counters killing a Guildmage. If he doesn't kill it, well, he's going to die. He's going to take 2 anyway. Huh. Kaji's attack was wrong, maybe?
That's possible.
I mean, Kaji...
But he's going to lose in a couple turns anyway to the flyer.
But he had the option of, instead of playing Jite, then he can instead play either Yosei or Arashi.
And then both players are locked down.
Right. Yeah, I think the Jite play was just wrong. Kaji makes it, it's only good if Katsu doesn't have any fatty to follow up with.
Right.
But when Katsu comes up with North Tree, Kaji saw it too. I mean, as soon as Katsu dropped the North Tree, Tomohiro picked up his cards. He knew that was game. Like, I think he'd already thought through the possibility that scenario might exist, decided he was going to put Mori on not having anything left in his hand, make a play that will work if Katsu's hand is mediocre, but loses if he comes up with North Tree.
Right.
Katsu showed him the North Tree. That was ball game. Katsuhiro Mori up 1-0.
And these players have played enough. They've practiced enough. They played enough in the Swiss. They didn't waste any time with their sideboards. They were already. They run boom, 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 and they're shuffling up for game 2.
What are their sideboard plans? Do they differ at all?
I didn't get a chance to see what they were sideboarding.
Well, Kaji does have the same Seaborn Muse that
Both players have
Katamori
Seaborn
has.
Muse. Both players have the Greater Good plan. Kaji has 3 Greater Goods.
Okay.
We've got 3 Hikori Dusk Drinkers for Amori to 1 Hikori for Kaji. We've got 2 more Yoseis in both decks. We've got an extra
Kaji's got
Kadama.
an extra couple Caryatids.
And we've got an extra couple of extra Arashis over here also.
Okay, so Mori's got a Wrath and a Kadama's Reach and a Seedborn Muse that his opponent does not have.
Right, and there's no Wrath on... Kaji doesn't have Wrath available to him at all.
1 times Wrath of God in Katsuhiro Mori's deck. He doesn't have any way to tutor it up, right? I mean, at least in the case of that 1 Seedborn Muse, he can go get it with Congregation at Dawn.
Congregation at Dawn is a pretty interesting card to break out this weekend.
I agree.
And it's a card that, I mean, in a format in limited, people don't even play that card all the time, and that's a format that's all about creatures.
Yeah, I guess the creatures these guys are playing are just that good. You're willing to throw a card away to set up 3 of them.
Right, it's like 3 Time of Needs. You just go get 3 legends all.
Oh, but Time of Need, yeah.
Time of Needs a sorcery. They're essentially the same speed.
あれが名のあるバードだったら負けてたんちゃう。
そしたら嵐で流すからいいよ。
え？
そしたら嵐でできるよ。
流された。
Players are laughing about their match.
そっちかで、そっちの
Don't know
バー
what
ド
they're
が
saying.
バードだったら負けてた。
If anyone out
Get
there
used to
speaks
it.
Japanese, please.
If anyone out there speaks Japanese, they're probably listening to the Japanese commentary. We have Koichiro Maki and Masashiro Kuroda in the booth.
How lucky.
Yeah, doing the Japanese commentary. That's got to be good.
So did you tell the story about Masashiro Kuroda in the podcast with Tsuyoshi Fujita?
No.
So Tsuyoshi Fujita and with Olivia Ruel. I'm sorry.
Oh,
So,
that's where I did tell.
Where Kuroda is just, I mean, he's probably one of my favorite players on the Pro Tour. He's just the sweetest guy in the world. He's just everyone who meets him like falls under his spell. I mean, he's really charming and just wonderful. And he's become good friends with Olivier Ruel over the years. And
They're good enough friends that Olivier flew out to Japan for a month in between. He went to first a Grand Prix and then a Pro Tour and just stayed with Masashiro Kuroda for the month in between.
right, and his family. And I think, was it the last round or the second to last round of the
I think
tournament?
there were 3 rounds left.
They got paired, and Kuroda smashed Olivier. And
Katsu contemplating a mulligan.
And then conceded to him because he knew that Olivier was in the hunt for the Player of the Year race, and they were both really essentially out of the money at that point. I mean,
Yeah, Olivier thought that if he won out, he could get to the edge of the money and then top 64. Both players felt like they needed to go 3 or 4-0 in order to win a couple of dollars.
Right.
For Kuroda, it's just a couple of dollars. For Olivier Ruel, it's a couple dollars and a pro point that could be the difference between being Player of the Year and not. So Kuroda wins the match, effectively has lethal damage on the stack in the second game, and concedes.
Yeah, and that was just remarkable.
It's just like, this means so much more to you than it does to me. You can have the win.
Even though Kuroda doesn't get to play in very many Pro Tours,
yeah, Olivier
he doesn't
was
travel outside Japan. Olivier was in tears. He was so moved by it. It was really it was one of the sweetest things I heard this weekend. It was a great story. All right, we're underway.
Katsu's got a 6-card hand. Looks like he's going to keep this one. Did you get a look at the 7 cards that he cashed in? Did he keep no lands? He kept 0 lands,
He
didn't
may
he?
have kept the Selesnya Sanctuary.
Wow.
Yeah, he passed the turn with no play.
Is that a Sanctuary in play
No,
now?
that's a yep.
Wow. He kept Sanctuary and no other
And
land.
then drew into Temple Garden.
Huh. Scary.
And we have an active Selesnya Guildmage on the table. Temple Garden is back in play.
それだが
6枚。
6枚。
6。
終わりか。
Wow. Look at Mori's hand. He's got
はい。
2 Jittes, double, or maybe even triple Guildmage in hand. And he just played a Jitte.
SNK Arcbound is asking in the forums where the multimedia button is so we can find those old webcasts. Can't find it anywhere on the Worlds pages. The problem is it's not on the Worlds pages, it's part of the Hall of Fame package. So if you click the Hall of Fame logo, that'll take you to this amazing Hall of Fame website. I think it's one of the best things we've added to our website in years. It's got detailed information on each player, and there's a multimedia section that is full of old coverage of events that those Hall of Fame players were in. So go to the Hall of Fame page. That's where you can find the multimedia page with all those old webcasts.
半分1
Mori gets in for, Kaji gets in for 7 this turn. He activates the pump ability of the Selesnya Guildmage. He seed sparked Mori's Jitte at the end of the turn, so he now has 2 1/1s. So he's getting in right now for 7 a turn.
7
Mori's quickly down to 9. And there's the 1 Rathagod. There it was. Is that a greater good? Yes, it is. Here's Yosei. And we've got a greater good next turn, so we'll see how this sideboard plan works, I think, in 1 turn. There's a Guildmage from Mori. He's got a couple of those in his hand. He's got 2 more, actually. And a Seed Spark, so we're only going to really get 1 look at Greater Good in action. And actually, we may not. I mean, Mori's at 7. What am I thinking? He may not. He's certainly not going to want to sacrifice his Yosei. He wants to get in for 2. He wants to get in twice. And it's a Jitte from Mori.
Mori's, you think he can actually recover from keeping a one land hand with the land he can't even play? He gets hit by Yosei, falls down to 2. There's North Tree. He's sort of almost, cannot stabilize. Tomohiro Kaji evens this match 1 game apiece.
So you saw the Selesnya Sanctuary, saw 3 Selesnya Guild Mages, saw 2 Jittes in his hand, and thought if I just draw 1 land, I can turn my entire hand on.
Right. Yeah, he's probably a reasonable keeper for 6 cards, but he missed 1 land drop,
and he was on the draw. So
he gets 1 card off the top before he even risks missing a land drop.
But then he missed.
Doesn't sound crazy, but Kaji came out fast enough that Mori couldn't recover.
Richard Hohen actually won a match this weekend where he was on the play and mulliganed to, I believe, 5 or 6. He mulliganed to 6 and kept a no-land hand on the play. In extended, playing Blue-Green Madness.
Oh, wow.
He kept his hand, he passed the turn, his opponent was like, what? And then on the next turn, he drew Island, Careful Study, 2 Basking Wallas, and went to town.
Last time we were here in Yokohama, Mark Lapine did that, playing for top 8 in the last round.
It's a pretty famous match.
Yeah, he's playing for top 8 in the last round, and I think he mulligans once, and then he looks at his opponent and he says, go. And his opponent's like, no. There's a little bit of a language issue there. His opponent's like, but you won the roll. You play first. And Lapine's like, I know, go. It's like, no, you play first. It's like, I don't have any land. Go.
But he kept. He was
playing
pro-red.
He was playing against a Sly deck, the red beatdown deck in the format, and his hand was Hydroblast, Sea Sprite. So he's like, I have Hydroblast, Sea Sprite, 1 island anytime in the first 3 turns my hand on. Anyway, here we are now checking in on the other semifinal match. There's a good look at Frank Karsten. Frank won a marathon quarterfinal match. Tough match against Ding Liang. He's running a green-white Greater Good deck. Green-white-blue, it's got a Gifts engine. He can set up a Gifts lock. He can set up Greater Good. He's got all these dragons that do all these things with Goryo's Vengeance and Greater Good. He is playing against Akira Asahara, who's got an Enduring Ideal deck that he's brought into battle. Akira Asahara, by the way, I hope we need to get a shot of him on the screen. There you get a look at him. Look at the shirt. Look at the tie. Does it remind you of anything? Does it remind you of anyone? Akira Asahara went to the coverage last night. He went to sideboard reporter Kate Amora was telling me this story. He's like, show me the web coverage from the 2000 World Championships. And Kate's just like, no, he's like, show me the web coverage. And Kate's just like, all right, no. The archives, the 2000 Worlds coverage. I want to see what John Finkel looked like when he won the World Championship. He looked at the coverage. He looked at that trophy shot with John Finkel with the blue shirt and the tie, and he was like, that's what I'm going to wear tomorrow. He's dressed to look like John Finkel.
He said, I don't think I can win my quarterfinal matchup, but maybe if I look like John Finkel.
No, I think he said maybe if I was Finkel, I could win it.
If I was Finkel, I could win it. So he tried to become Finkel. And he said that if he wins this World Championship, he's going to emulate that trophy shot to honor John and John's achievements in Magic.
Spectacular.
The Japanese seemed very struck by the Hall of Fame this weekend.
They really did. They really seemed very into it.
10 years from now, they're all going to be in it. So. So we have an Ivory Mask in play on Asahara's side of the table. Is that what that is?
Does that turn off Kakusho?
It turns off, yes, it does, and it also turns off.
Does it turn off Yosei?
Turns off cranial extraction. They both target player, yes.
Yosei targets a player. Kakusho targets a player. Cranial extraction targets a player. Ivory Mask does seem pretty relevant here. So Carson pretty much has to attack now?
Well, he can still, if Asahara, let's look at Asahara's sideboard, because I'm not sure what he would have brought in. He has Pyroclasms, Privileged Position, Mana Leak, 4 Defense Grid, 1 Ivory Mask, 1 Genju of the Realm. So...
I know that Karsten is expecting to be playing against Mana Leak now.
Can you tap it for any color if I have this in play with no counter?
Oh, Felwar Stone Tendo Ice Bridge interaction. I don't know what this answer is either. Can you tap Tendo Ice? Does Tendo Ice Bridge fire up your opponent's Felwar Stone even when it doesn't have a counter?
I believe you can tap it. Any color it could potentially produce.
All right.
I believe.
Does Reflecting Pool fire it up?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Really? Reflecting Pool will turn Felwar Stone Rainbow. I did not know that. Interesting.
It's too bad Ivory Mask doesn't say players can't be the target of spells or abilities, because you'd be able to shut off gifts ungiven. But it's not that good. It's not that good. So Asahara's got a handful of Faith's Fetters. He's got the Enduring Ideal. He's also got the Genju of the Realm, which will give him a way to attack.
Sorry? Pray, okay?
Yeah.
Wait, does Gift say target player has to do the split?
I think you can play on in the meantime.
Does Gift actually target? Oh my gosh.
The opponent has to do the split? Wow. Ivory Mask shuts off everything.
Response.
Yeah.
Target opponent. Look at that.
Wow. Akira Asahara, ladies and gentlemen.
In his John Finkel wear. Maybe we get a line of John Finkel clothing for aspiring Magic players.
As long as it's delayed Finkel.
As long as it's 2,000 and above. Got Face Fetters on Ivory top. Face Fetters on Sensei Divining top.
Trying to.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I expect he's going to flip it on the top. Karsten's hand has Yosei, Extraction. Just like another Yosei, he's got a Greater Good on top.
All right, this second game seems like it's gotten considerably tougher for.
Well, I knew Karsten knew that going in.
Yeah.
I mean, the first game he knows there's no permission on the other side, and there's no silver bullets on the other side. Knew it would get tougher after sideboarding.
I thought it was also interesting. Frank Carson, despite everyone telling him what a bad matchup Asahara had in the quarterfinals, he still spent a considerable amount of time yesterday playtesting it. He wasn't taking any chances.
Also locks on Hierarch and Carson's board.
Survival on Hanagami.
Well, he looks like he's got Hanakami up and running. Kadama's Reach, splicing Soulless Revival. He gets some land. He gets his Hanakami back. Ivory Mask doesn't turn that off. Pretty much going to have to just summon monsters and attack with him to win, though.
And all his monsters fly over Form of the Dragon.
Did he resolve a gift before the Ivory Mask could play? And he's got Hanakami and Soulless Revival. Maybe he just drew him.
I think he just lucked into it.
Yeah, he had the top running for a little while. I don't see a gifts in his graveyard unless it's that second card.
So Frank has to make all his decisions a little more quickly for this match.
Definitely.
He has an official warning for slow play from the first game.
Yeah, Sheldon spent
from the first round.
Head Judge Sheldon Menery spent some time with him after the match too, explaining what was expected of him at this level of play. Carson replays his top.
Frank agreed that he could have played that first game faster.
True.
If you look at him now, he's playing with a much more crisp series of motions, and quickly passing turn on to Asahara.
Wow. Really kind words from POS2 in the forum. Says that the podcasts are probably the best ideas for for Pro Tour coverage since posting the final results.
The podcast was a lot of fun to listen to. It was actually interesting. Listening to it in the back and fun. You were getting. We focus so much on feature matches and on results, and you were out there getting stories.
That was the idea.
And you really. I mean, John Becker. We talked about him. He's home. With a broken foot. He's been following the event with the podcast, and he said it's really made it feel like he was at the Pro Tour. It's really made up for John really wanted to be here. This is for him. It's the next best thing.
Yeah, I mean, POS2 continues. There's a whole paragraph of really kind words. Thanks for that. Oh, Norway finished third in the team competition.
I guess we could have checked that.
Hey, we had the forums to check it for us.
We actually make mistakes on purpose so that people in the audience and people at home can have something to write about.
Wow, Katsuhiro Mori has taken a blisteringly fast Game 3. Katsu now leads 2-1 over Tomohiro Kaji.
Asahara is the opposite of blistering fast here.
Yeah, this speed doesn't even seem like it's Carson's fault.
No, it's not at all. Carson went through his turn very quickly, passed the turn, and now Asahara's really, he's been in the tank for a while. His fingers are pruning up, in fact.
Sounds like Kaji kept a 5-land hand.
Some very suspicious,
including a bounce land.
Some very suspicious hands have been kept.
Mori went Wood Elves, Arashi, Smash. Kaji just didn't have any spells.
So we talked about mulligan decisions earlier. It sounds like both of the last two games
have been sketchy
in that
keeps.
match have been just keeps hands you just shouldn't keep out of fear of going to 5. Your 5-card hand should be better than. Was it 5-land hand or a 6-land hand?
It was a 5-land hand. I don't know if it was 6 or 7 cards. I'll try to find that out. Was it 5 lands or 6 cards or 7? Oh, he mulliganed down to 5. Sorry.
If he mulliganed to 5,
he mulliganed down to 5 and kept a 1-land hand, which is correct.
To keep it.
Yeah. Okay. Not a sketchy keep, just an unlucky game.
All this time to What are we going to get? I think we are getting Genju of the Realm.
Wow.
Hard cast Genju of the Realm.
Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all 5 colors. Wow. The World Championship banner, the Champions plaque. Every Pro Tour champion is inscribed on that. That gets carded around every Pro Tour. There's the World's Trophy in the back left. That gets brought around to every Pro Tour. One of these guys is going to be playing to have their name inscribed on it next round.
That is.
Will it be the one with Genju of the Realms in play? Or will it be Frank Karsten? So Genju of the Realms is 8-12, right?
That's what I'm checking right now.
It's 8-12. How much to activate? See, if we were watching ourselves, we'd have the card viewer. I'm sure it's telling the answers. To settle for Gatherer.
And my slow computer. It's a 2/2 activate.
2 mana to make an 8/12 creature.
Vending funds?
Oh, Rending Vines.
Interesting. So Hanakami gets back Rending Vines.
Play. Slice.
Rending Vines, targeting Genju, splicing the Soulless Revival.
Draw.
So this game is over.
This in hand.
Is it? That splice engine is just too much? You don't think Akira Asahara has anything else?
He just does that every turn. He can destroy any enchantment in Asahara's deck every turn. He's going to hit the Ivory Mask. He's going to hit the Ivory Mask next.
Go.
I'm pretty sure that Karsten can't lose this game.
Yeah, I don't see how Karsten loses this game either.
I didn't see the Rending Vines in the yard.
No, I mean, I guess, can Asahara get enough permission together to stop that? Does he have anything other than Mana Leak? Does he have any hard counters?
He has 4 Mana Leaks. I guess he has 4 defense grids. He can force Karsten to do stuff on his turn, but I don't know that he wouldn't have even brought the defense grids in. So, I mean, really, he just has the 4 Mana Leaks.
Well, it looks like Karsten's got this game locked up. Oh, and there's the scoop.
Yep.
Great. Frank Karsten has won this game. He now leads 2-0, and we're going to go peek in on game 4 between Mori and Kaji.
Mori, who was cheering animatedly for... I don't know if he was cheering for Frank Karsten. Maybe he doesn't want to play against Asahara's deck. Or maybe he's just excited to be on camera again.
Yeah, Karsten and Asahara will shuffle up. Frank's going back to his sideboard. Akira's just shuffling. I think Mori and Kaji are just hoping for both of them to have land and spells. They've traded a couple of really bad mana games. Mori takes 2 to bring that dual land into play untapped and use it to cast Llanowar Elves.
These guys seem like they could be playing Magic in their local store. They're just having a lot of fun with each other.
It's true.
No, thank you.
Give me a what else?
Mori plays a Wood Elf. Katsu was your pick to win this tournament, right? Or no, it was your pick to lose to Frank Karsten in the finals.
That is my pick.
To lose to Frank Karsten in the finals.
Yes.
Well, still live.
Frank Karsten looks like he's going through. 2-0. If he gets that Rending Vines package, I mean, that seems like a very fortunate draw, though. I mean, it was fortunate for.
It sounds like we don't think he resolved the gifts, right? He just
did
drew.
not resolve it. There were no gifts.
He was digging with the top, but all he had for card selection was a top, and he found his 1 Hanakami, his 1 Soulless Revival, and his 1 Rending Vines.
He just had the whole package.
It's pretty good. Meanwhile, dueling Wood Elves from Kaji and Mori.
Although we have a city tree on the side of Kaji's board.
How many cards? Okay. Untap up kick. 1 draw. Untap up kick. 1 draw.
So we were talking next week. I think Rolling Spoil will become a pretty big sideboard card if this deck is popular. A lot of the green-black aggro decks was a pretty popular choice this weekend in the metagame. They can just run Rolling Spoil on the sideboard against this.
4マナセレズニアセレズニア
Guild Mage. Mori is the beatdown in this game.
And this is the frenetic Mori we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, look how fast he's playing. He's very confident right now. He's very excited.
Just sounds like he's having fun. He thinks he's going through to the finals here.
お very good thank you okay happy
うん、ちょっと待ってね。
you're right 19
うん。
okay
Kaji does play Glare. That's the signature card in this deck. He's only got one creature, though.
Kaji's thinking about whether or not he wants to tap a Llanowar Elf
Right.
on upkeep. And the big difference between Glare, Subdual, and Opposition is you can't tap lands.
Which is a big difference.
Not without Natural Affinity, anyway. I guess with Natural Affinity, you can tap an
It's always
opponent's
about
land down.
natural affinity with you.
I love Natural Affinity. It's my favorite card.
Mori smashes over for 5. Do
14
you have more guys? Tapping that Llanowar Elf actually kept him off Yosei, right?
He must have more guys, because otherwise he would have just pumped his guys. He would have played that land and pumped.
Arashi. Tomohiro Kaji needs to get some creatures in play in a hurry to get his Glare fired up, or else Katsuhiro Mori may be through to the finals.
Remember, Tomohiro Kaji does not have Wrath of God. He doesn't have that option.
Right.
So if this board gets really out of hand for Mori, which it's
Well, there's a
already
city
looking like
tree. Vitsugazi helps a little bit, but I don't think it's fast enough.
No.
He would take 4 this turn, and Katsu has the option to pump.
Also, Katsu can sort of keep up with him creature for creature. He's got his guild mages. He can make guys. And he's actually pretty close to being able to make. I can't tell if those are both 2 Selesnya Sanctuaries, but it looks like he can make more than one guy turn.
Okay.
Here comes Yosei from Kaji.
upkeep
Is Yosei enough?
No.
Glare tries to tap Arashi. Katsu lets that happen. He did have the option to Arashi for 5 there, right? Well, how much is it?
He has Llanowar Elf and
Gion.
I believe at
No, I
least
don't think
5 mana.
14
Is it XG? Katsu contemplating potential attacks.
Yeah, Rashi is green and X, so
he could have Arashi to kill Yosei there and declined.
tap himself out for 2 turns. I mean, he might be able to just.
I think his plan is obviously to just swarm around it. Oh, he plays a Yosei of his own instead.
Yosei.
So that'll lock them both down for next turn. Kaji all tapped out.
Kaji will recover from this.
Plays comes into play yeah, exactly. Plays comes into play tap land.
Looks like he has a
Mori.
greater good in hand.
Mori plays a land. And now Kaji will get to untap first.
So can he untap into some answers for double Guild Mage, Arashi, and a couple of dorks? He can negate 2 of those guys right now, making a token and using his glare. He's at 18 life. He has a little room to maneuver.
Is it 18-20?
It is. There's a white bordered greater good. Always easy to see.
Yeah, Kaji's actually at 14. Our score is wrong. Greater good does indeed hit play for Tomohiro Kaji.
And Mori says no seed spark. He doesn't have one.
シードスパークってみたいな絵が好きだな
Kaji has Naturalized, Congregation at Dawn, and a backup Glare in his hand. So nothing to really abuse with Greater Good. He needs a dragon. It's interesting, actually. He chose to play Greater Good and does not have the ability to make a token, right? What am I missing?
Guess he's not dead.
But, I mean, isn't getting a token into play better than getting a Greater Good into play, given his board position?
I guess he's going to his Congregation of Dawn in his hand.
Yes.
He can Dawn for Yosei right now.
Got it. That makes sense. That was the play. Rather spend his mana on Congregation. He gets smashed here, but it's not quite lethal. Was it 2, 4, 6, 7? Another Yosei and a Llanowar Elf.
So he's not going to get the card advantage from the Greater Good in his Yosei.
Right, but he does have the ability to implode those 2 Yoseis.
And again, untap first with Greater Good in play.
Yeah, that looks pretty good for Kaji.
Wait. It might just be biding his time here.
Yeah, I guess in this deck, Greater Good is merely good. It's not actually game-ending.
Good or good?
Yeah, it's good or good. Frank Karsten is playing Greater Good. These guys just are playing good or good.
So, Mori just dumps his hand. He knows there's no Wrath of God to play around.
True.
逆転の目はほぼなくなった。今3枚。
Kaji's got to play Congregation of Dawn here, right?
It's the only thing he can do. So, we're still at the end of Mori's turn here. Wow, look how nervous he looks now. He's turning red. Same adrenaline surge you were talking about with Carson at last match. Kaji's counting out the amount of permanents he needs to account for. He can go get multiple Yoseis here. Kaji can go get 3 Yoseis here.
I was thinking something like that might be right. In the back match between Frank Karsten and Akira Asahara, there's a bunch of land in play on both sides and pretty much nothing going on.
Oh, and the Seedborn Muse.
Enduring Ideal is on the stack from Akira Asahara.
He's looking at Seedborn Muse. He's looking at Yosei. He's looking at Carven Catarid. Draw an extra card. He's also looking at a Guild Mage.
Seedborn Muse Yosei seems pretty good here. Does he have enough mana to play them both?
I don't know how many of those are Selesnya Sanctuaries and how many of those are Temple Gardens.
Well, we know he played Greater Good plus Congregation and has 1 left. Looks like he's got 8 mana.
Okay.
So I don't think he can do Yosei and Seedborn Muse all at the same time. He can't draw them at the same time anyway, so.
Well, he's going to draw them from the graveyard. Thinking. He's definitely taking the Seedborn Muse. Almost definitely. Let's put it down, face down in front of him. He has to take the Yosei here. I don't think there's any other option.
Yeah, he has to get Yosei.
So what's his third card here? Is it going to be Selesnya Guild Mage, or is it going to be... Selesnya Guild Mage is interesting because with the Seedborn Muse, it will allow him to untap and untap his mana each turn, so he can make multiple guys with the Selesnya Guild Mage and make his Glare of Subdual hopefully enough to contain Mori's army when he eventually untaps.
Yeah, I think his route to victory has to involve Glare and a bunch of tokens.
Right.
He's the one with the City Tree. Katsu does not have one. He also has a backup in case Katsu draws an enchantment removal spell.
The real problem here for him is that he doesn't get to go 5 cards deeper on the Yosei, which is really what he was looking to do
Sure.
when he was setting this up. When he took that big hit and left the mana open for the congregation, it was because he thought he was going to be able to get all these cards into his hand on one turn.
Mm-hmm.
So the Yosei from Mori is sort of gumming up his plan a little bit. He's
got to draw Yosei, then probably Seedborn Muse next. He's just trying to figure out, 2 turns ahead, 3 turns ahead. How do I make sure I don't die to all those other creatures after I've inputted the Yoseis and locked him down for a turn?
Which is probably why I guess he's looking at the Caridid. And he plays
Maybe.
Gets a card, gets the sack it for 2 more cards, discards 3, but he digs
can
2 cards
go
deeper.
He can go Caryatid Seedborn Muse on the same turn.
Right.
Like he can Caryatid into the Seedborn Muse next turn, or the turn after.
And then his lands on tap.
Oh, there's the slap you were expecting.
Yeah, there it is.
Katsu trying to make sure he keeps his... Say again,
Kaji is narrowing it down. Yeah, you really when a player takes a long time making a decision, it really gets under Mori's skin. He's really eager to play. He gets really, really impatient.
You think
There
Kaji
might
knows
actually
that?
be a little bit of gamesmanship from Kaji here.
I'm
also.
sure Kaji knows that about Mori.
You can upset him. He and Tomohiro Saito are both 2 players who get very impatient. They will urge their opponents to play faster and make decisions. So Kaji might be getting into his head a little bit here. So what did he do? Seedborn Muse.
I can't tell what the middle one is.
It looks like it's Selesnya Guildmage from here. I think that was Selesnya Guildmage. But it may have been Carbon Cataracte. He'll play that. Caryatid.
He drew the Seedborn Muse? Really? Wow.
Seedborn Muse, make a guy.
And then
untaps.
on Kaji's upkeep, he can go glare, resolve the Seedborn trigger to untap them all, right? So he can effectively tap 6 creatures?
Something like that.
Whew. Yeah, that'll keep him alive a turn, and then he'll have the Seedborn Muse when the Yosei's implode.
And then he won't be affected by the untap of the Yosei.
Right.
He'll be able his lands will untap under the Yosei.
Yep.
I believe. It says skip your untap steps. I don't know. Seedborn Muse, I believe, is during your upkeep.
During each player's or
each player's upkeep. Japanese love Seedborn Muse.
Oh wow, he just scoops. That's it?
Oh, I think he was a mana short.
Wow. Katsuhiro Mori's through to the finals, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations, Katsumori.
I'm not missing anything, right?
Nope.
Wow. Tomohiro Kaji couldn't quite piece it together. He tried. I'll be very interested to get a translated story from Kaji about what happened there. He chose to get the Seedborn Muse, not the Yosei.
And if he'd gotten the Yosei, he would have had
He clearly would have bought himself some time, but presumably there was not a play there. Kaji resolved. What a bizarre ending. I did not think that game was over.
I think Kaji...
Why was that game over? I mean, why can't he go Seedborn Muse a bunch of untaps?
Well, he doesn't get a bunch. He gets 1 untap on Mori's turn.
Sure, but he can tap his response to the Seedborn Muse trigger.
I don't believe you can. I don't believe you have an opportunity to tap in response.
Why not? Isn't it? It's a triggered ability.
I'm not sure. We'll have to check into that.
Wow, so Katsuhiro Mori is through to the finals. 3-1 over Tomohiro Kaji. Not the most camera-friendly win, but Katsu will take it. One way or the other, Kaji could not put the pieces together, and it's Katsuhiro Mori in the finals trying to become the first ever Japanese world champion. Well, who's going to play against him? Let's go find that out now. Will it be Frank Karsten from the Netherlands trying to become the third Dutch world champion? Will it be Akira Asahara with the homage to John Finkel, the blue shirt and tie that John used to win in Brussels? Asahara is down 2 games, but he has resolved Enduring Ideal in this game. He's searching his library. He's figuring out what enchantment to pick.
So we're at the point where the Enduring Ideal is triggered a couple of times.
At least once. I see Yosei on Frank's side of the board.
I see Zer's Weirding on Asahara's side.
Ah, the players are playing with their hands face up due to the Zer's Weirding.
Asahara is going to become one of the most beloved players in the world. People love Zer's Weirding.
So what else does he have?
So
Telling Time, 2 Faith's Feathers, a Mana Leak, a Form of the Dragon, a land, and a Confiscate. He's confiscated a land already from... I'm sorry, there's one of Karsten's lands has been confiscated.
Ah,
looks like.
Okay. And it looks like Karsten played Yosei.
He's got 3 confiscates.
Asahara has to pay to deny the top, right? If he lets him have Divining Top, he can just totally negate Zer's Weirding.
Absolutely.
So Zer's Weirding is an enchantment that says every time somebody would draw a card, the opponent has the option of paying 2 life to deny him that card.
Oh, I guess it doesn't. You still have to draw a card.
With top, it's still draw. It's not put into your hand.
Yeah, you still draw. You still have to draw the card. You look at your cards, but then you're going to, when you activate your top, you're drawing that card. It's a card draw.
Okay.
So
he could still deny it. So then the top does nothing. Zer's Weirding. You know what Zer's Weirding does? It just confuses everything.
Oh,
Zer's Weirding is the kind of card you play because you've taken the time to figure out what it actually does, and your opponent just isn't really aware of all the interactions.
So the very first PTQ ever was won by a Necro deck with Zer's Weirding in it by Ben Bleiweiss. Since then, Zer's Weirding has never won. So Akira Asahara is looking to rewrite history here.
It's been a fixture in the Enduring Ideal decks over the last 6 months.
It's actually a big part of Enduring Ideal.
So Karsten sets up his draw. Gets denied. What is that, Tendo Ice Bridge? Oh, is he down a color? Is that what's going on?
I don't believe he has. Does he not have any black?
I think he's down all of his black mana. I think that's why Asahara confiscated that land.
I don't think I can win. I don't think I can win anymore. Let me think about it.
Karsten not sure he has any ability to win. If Asahara just keeps denying him black mana, that's often one of the things that happens with Zer's Weirding is your opponent has to play with their hand face up, and so you can figure out, is there some flaw in their draw? If you just deny all the black mana, how many black mana sources does Frank Karsten have? Asahara has enough life, he can just deny every single one of them.
And Asahara's draws are not relevant.
Right. He couldn't cast those spells anyway.
Those cards off to the side, they're in his hand. He can't cast them. He never casts another spell for the rest of the game.
He's not allowed to. Enduring Ideal is that powerful. So powerful, it's the last spell you're allowed to cast. Now what does Asahara do? Is it time to go confiscate Yosei?
Well, it's interesting. He's letting Enduring Ideal resolve, so he can't sacrifice Hanakami in response.
Oh, you can actually confiscate it. That's right.
Or Faith's Fetters it, which is what Asahara is thinking about doing here.
Those Faith's Fetters are nice. They give you the life you need for Zer's Weirding.
Yes. And you can't once you've let that happens upon resolution, it goes right into play.
Right.
You can't respond if you have a sacrifice. You have to make all your decisions before the Enduring Ideal resolves, because it just plop comes into play.
And that's exactly what Asahara does.
Yep.
Faith's Fetters on Hanakami. That looks an awful like a swamp on Frank's side of the board, doesn't it?
Swamp all the way over there on the right, on the left.
Yeah.
Asahara just puts a card in the pile that is his hand.
Maybe Asahara's plan is to deny every draw. Oh, there's that top again.
Another top. You're just going to let him have the top, I assume.
That's what he did last turn.
Okay.
Nope. Oh, yeah.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, no, he did pay 2 life that time.
I think he can pay 2 every time.
Well, also, once he gets Form of the Dragon in play, he regains the life.
Yep.
Stack.
He goes back to 5 each turn. Unless Karsten can set up a Hasty Dragon.
Okay.
Could be a good name for this deck, Hasty Dragon.
Why would you call it that exactly?
You get the Hasty Dragons. Talking about Karsten's deck.
Where does the haste come from?
Goryo's Vengeance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like a little shallow
It's not really
grave.
the point, but
It's going to confiscate Yosei.
yep.
Probably start serving with a Genju of the Realm soon.
Or Yosei. This is the first of the 3 games where Asahara has managed to resolve an Enduring Ideal. You don't lose very often after resolving that card.
Karsten gets a land. Doesn't let him have it.
Yeah. No reason to let him have anything.
Nope.
There are Rending Vines in Karsten's hand.
There's Confiscate on a swamp. Yeah, Frank's done. Frank just scoops him up. This game is clearly over. Asahara managed to resolve Enduring Ideal, and that's pretty much all it takes. Gives Frank back his land, and now Asahara is on the board. Karsten still leads 2-1. Actually had a very similar thing happen in the quarters where he ran out to a 2-0 lead and then lost game 3, lost game 4, had to win a gut-wrenching game 5.
Even when he's playing fast, he likes to take as much time as possible.
We're going to move these 2 players up to the hero table, make sure we get our 4th camera pointed at them to cover the rest of this semifinal.
So I got an update on what was going on over in the other match.
Okay.
I think we had that flipped around. Mori was going to come out from under the Yosei first.
Sure.
So it was just going to be enough to kill him. He wasn't going to be, even if he was 1 mana short of being able to set up everything he needed. So he did the math, and there really was, the Yosei play wasn't going to save him.
That's your point.
So the Yosei play was going to buy him a turn. He's going to be tapped. His opponent's going to be tapped, and then come out of it before he does. His opponent's going to be tapped out. He's going to be tapped out. Then his opponent's going to untap and just swing in with everybody.
So there was just absolutely nothing Tomohiro Kaji could do.
Right. So he needed the Seaborn Muse Catarid play to work, but he was still was going to not be able to tap down everything that he needed to deal with.
All right. Who do you like? Do you still think Frank's got the edge in this matchup?
Absolutely. The Rending Vine, I mean, he can get a Rending Vine's recursion going. He's in great shape. It looked like that game was a matter of there were some mana issues. There were some difficulties.
I'm not sure.
I mean, it looked like he had a Rending Vines in his hand. It looked like So these flat screens are nice, but I think we need high definition plasmas next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, big ones. Well, this would be remarkable. I mean, this would be a great story for Asahara if he could come back, though.
If he does, we also will clinch a Japanese world champion.
I'm reasonably certain that Asahara's matchup against the green-white glare deck is fantastic.
So if he can beat Karsten, he's the world champ?
I think so. I don't think he can lose to that deck.
Wow. They've got some enchantment removal, right? But I guess they can't recurse it?
Right. And again, you get the Zer's Weirding. If he can catch them with their enchantment removal down, he can keep them away from ever getting any.
I love the tie. I can't believe how much respect the Japanese have for the history of the game, too. That's the thing that really struck me. They've been so into the Hall of Fame. And, I mean, Asahara going back and picking John Finkel as that ideal that he wants to embody. Just makes you feel good about international Magic.
Right. They've always been. I mean, there was. I did a little piece yesterday on Jin Okamoto's retiring from the game, and one of the reasons he felt like he could retire is because he had passed on his Tiger shirt from Worlds in Berlin to Ryo Ogura in Worlds last year. You know, he felt his work was done, and that he could, that he was able to. You know, they're very concerned about tradition and legacy. And it's really nice to see, you know, John getting this respect here.
Sure. Yeah, the thing I found really interesting about that piece was another example of a Japanese player picking the American as the icon of how things should be. Jin Okamoto says he's going to model the rest of his Magic career after Chris Pakula.
Right. He's not going to stop playing Magic. He feels like he has to get a job. He's reached that point in his life. So he's still going to play. He'll obviously still play with his friends and hang out, but and go to the occasional Pro Tour, try to qualify for the ones that seem really interesting for him. Well, he's qualified for every one next year. He's a level 3 Players Club member. And then, you know, really go to the ones where he can, you know, have fun, catch up with his friends, see some great sights. You know, Honolulu would be a great event to go to for him. And you know, and enjoy Magic. And I mean, Chris Pakula has really shown that you could do that. I mean, I hope Chris makes it to Honolulu with his. Yeah,
he qualified at Grand Prix Philadelphia, but he has a child due right around the date, right?
He does. I think a week before, 2 weeks before the date. So
he needs to hope it's early.
So do you think Tsuyoshi Fujita is the first Japanese player who's going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame?
No, there's.
Well,
Satoshi was on the first ballot.
Satoshi Nakamura
was on the first ballot. Right. Taru Ishida is on the second ballot.
Tsuyoshi's year 3. I'm sorry.
Tsuyoshi's year 3.
So Taru Ishida is year 2. Taru still doesn't have a Pro Tour top 8. So
I mean, Taru's a spectacular player. I think he's extremely influential. I don't think he quite makes the cut for the Hall of Fame.
I think you need. It's the Pro Tour Hall of Fame. It's not the Grand Prix Hall of Fame.
Good point.
But Tsuyoshi Fujita in year 3 is he the first Japanese player to make it in?
Yes. The only thing that could slow him, he could get slowed down a year by how ridiculous that class is. It's hard to know. Somebody who deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Fame inductee is going to miss out of that year 3 class. I don't know who it is.
Right, Tsuyoshi has three top 8s. So I mean, he doesn't have quite the.
Right. I mean, he doesn't have the resume of a Mike Turian or a Nikolai Herzog.
Right.
I mean, forget about Kai and Zvi, right?
But his contributions to the game,
sure.
He's obviously been instrumental in leading the way for Japanese Magic.
It's a fine point. But, I mean, who's on the outside looking in that class?
It's so hard to tell. I mean, just let 7 people in that year.
I'm sure Brian Kibler wants the answer to be 8 or 9 people.
How many people does Brian Selden want?
I've got Selden 8 and Kibler 9 in that class right now in my head.
All right. So we're underway
Maybe
here.
It's the other way around.
We're underway with a little sleight of hand from Akira Asahara. Signet. Did you guys know Signets were going to be such a popular constructed card?
We expected them to be relevant. I guess people are running more of those than the the lands we call the Karus. I think we had the Karus better than the Signets, but they're both. We expected them both to show up in standard constructed, absolutely.
I think you're going to see after this Pro Tour, you know, people looking a little differently at the Karus. I mean, they're clearly they're 4 of in 2 decks now. I mean, there's a lot of they're pretty standard in the Jushi control decks, the blue-black one, and now the green-white one. So, you know, people are going to start looking at them in decks where you want to play with a little tighter mana. You don't really want to draw a ton of lands, but you want more access to mana. So you can draw 2 lands and have 3 mana on turn 3 still. They seem really good.
Oh, there's Ivory Mask
There's the
again.
Ivory Mask.
That shuts down Gifts
And-
Ungiven.
oh,
And
and he-
Frank just drew Gifts Ungiven. He actually had 4 mana last turn. If it was in his hand, he could have responded with it, but it wasn't. And so Gifts is shut off. Wow. Now, the forums, they were saying that Kakusho is not shut off by Ivory Mask. Am I confused about the wording of that? I thought target player lost 4 life, but is it all opponents or something?
I'll look it up.
Clearly shuts off Gifts, which we eventually puzzled out. Clearly shuts off Yosei, which is a big deal.
No, it says each opponent.
Oh, each opponent. So Kakusho still works, but Yosei targets an opponent.
Must be a
And
heck of a
Gifts
card in a
targets an
multiplayer
opponent.
game.
Uh-oh. There's Enduring Ideal.
And we're
Karsten
gonna go,
can't stop it. That's game, right?
well, unless he has an enchantment removal in his hand.
Zer's Weirding comes down.
Are we going to game 5?
We might be. Karsten breathing deeply.
Putrefy is only artifacts, correct?
Correct. His hand is Death Denied. I think that's Death Denied, right?
That is Death Denied, Putrefy, and Gifts Ungiven.
So he can never play Gifts. Yeah.
Oh my
Ball
gosh, we're
game.
going to game 5.
Akira
Just like that.
Asahara, ladies and gentlemen. 2 apiece. Wow.
He's got a little John Finkel on his shoulder today.
Ha ha. He's got John looming from the Hall of Fame stage. He's still over there. He's hanging out. Hey, it's funny. I mean, the way the site is set up, the stage where the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies has these gigantic towers with pictures of the inductees just looking down, and they're looking down on the crowd that's watching this match.
That was really great from the ceremony. As the players walked out from behind those pillars, they spun around to reveal the giant image and
Right.
The plaque and the player's name. It was really was pulled together really nicely. Big kudos to Renee and Whitney for pulling that together here. I was a little skeptical during the rehearsal.
Yeah, it definitely came off well. Well, John Finkel himself has already flown home, but his spirit is strong.
Do you think he's going to show up in Prague?
I think it's a good bet.
I mean, he loves drafting.
Yeah.
I've been drafting with John quite a bit back in New York, and he gets really mad at me. I'm now the draft ruiner.
Really?
And yeah, because we had about a 2-week period, maybe a 3-week period leading up to my trip to Japan, where, I mean, really, all the Hall of Fame stuff was really coming to a head, and there was a lot of video that needed to be called, and a lot of stuff was, as part of my job as a historian, that needed to get taken care of, and I was really pressed for time between that and the Thanksgiving holiday. So there were a couple times where he's like, all right, we got everyone ready to draft. I haven't turned down a draft in 10 years. So like, okay, we got 5 people. We assume you can be there in a half hour, right? And I'm like, sorry, I can't do it. And I made about 2 or 3 drafts fall apart. So yeah, John has sent out some angry emails and has wished me to get bird flu on this trip at one point for ruining drafts. So he really enjoys it. He's come a long way since he passed the Loxodon Hierarch in our first draft. In fact, it's amazing to watch him play. He's such a great player.
Yeah, I mean, if John Finkel shows up in Prague, he's probably got a great shot at making the top 8, right?
I mean, yeah, you certainly would be shocked if he finished outside of the top 64.
Yeah. No, he doesn't have. He's gone on. He's got a job. He's got a life. He doesn't have the time to prepare for Constructed like he used to. But Limited is much more about intuition for the game and much more about being able to improvise and think on your feet and take advantage of what you know about the game.
And he's got a good group of people to prepare with. Chris Bakula and Igor Fryman and Eric Kesselman and Tony Stein, a bunch of really great players who don't play on the professional level anymore, but still keep up on the game, play Moto quite a bit. So he's got a good group of people to test with for the limited events.
It's kind of funny how Chris Bakula, John Finkel, these guys are still sort of blazing the way for Magic, as they're sort of showing the world how to be an adult and still a Pro Tour player.
Absolutely, that's a really interesting idea. It's so funny. I mean,
they showed the world how to be a Pro Tour player first,
right? And how to be a retired Pro Tour player,
right?
I think there's really a lot of reaction in the forums. People who might not have known John as long as you or I have known him seemed shocked by the idea that John was, fat. You know, they were like, oh my God, is that actually John? That can't be. Who is that fat kid with the blonde hair?
And the glasses and the red hair and the yellow hair.
His transformation is just remarkable.
No, I mean, I think one of the things that makes Magic so tremendous is that it's a place where smart kids come and sort of find their element and evolve into men. I mean, you really get to watch the transformation over the years as, you know, the sort of awkward 16-year-olds show up on tour and start developing a social network and gaining confidence in themselves and turning themselves into, I mean, well-rounded men, going off to face the world. It's pretty remarkable when you look at the path of a lot of the players who've gone through the Pro Tour.
And just like he was one of the most successful players. I mean, John really, his transformation's also the most remarkable.
Definitely. By the way, you guys can read this story if you're tired of hearing me and BDM talk about it. There's actually a book that came out a couple months ago, Johnny Magic and the Card Shark Kids.
It's written by David Kushner.
Dave Kushner, who wrote Masters of Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not kidding. There's a book. It's the John Finkel biography, and it's a really good read. I very much enjoyed the book.
Yep. I'm actually working with John on he and Mike Flores are going to be writing a book together.
Really?
For us, we're going to be publishing it later this year about how to play Magic. John Finkel's approach to Magic. It's going to sort of go follow through his career, talk about the key moments at each event, and really try to get inside John's head and just dissect how he makes his plays. But let's dissect how Akira's playing here. He mulliganed.
Yes, trying to channel the spirit of John Finkel.
Yeah, he mulliganed.
Akira has been forced to mulligan. That draw looks reasonable. It's got a couple land and a Felwar Stone.
It's got a sleight of hand.
Sure. Uses up the counter on the Ice Bridge. 2 games apiece. So this game will determine who faces Katsuhiro Mori in the World Championship Finals. Slice a land to the bottom. Karsten starts digging on his top. Looked like a Gifts and a Greater Good. Draws land. Sahara plays a Plains.
And a Felwar Stone.
Presumably. Might play an Ice Bridge. Yeah, there's the Felwar Stone. Wow, I think Frank has the advantage in this matchup, but it feels pretty close. I mean, if he is advantaged, I don't think he's advantaged by an awful lot.
Not as much as he thought initially?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, those last 2 games, he seemed completely helpless.
One of them have been very kind to Asahara this tournament so far. 1 Ivory Mask, one Beseiju.
It's true. It's a good point. Does not have the Ivory Mask this game, so maybe Frank can get things going.
I'm going to start digging through his deck with the telling times in his hand. The Felwar Stone now produces blue. He's got a faith that he has the Enduring Ideal in hand.
Wow. 7 mana, right?
Yep.
And he's got 4?
He's got 4. I think he's holding 1 more. He's got 5, and he's got 2 telling times, and he's going to have the Enduring Ideal online in 3 turns. Maybe sooner if he finds another Felwar Stone.
It should be telling time, and it is. What do you think of telling time? Constructed. No, that's not great. Land, Mana Leak, and a backup Enduring Ideal. It does the Mana Leak is pretty relevant. He gets Mana Leak into his hand.
It seems great in the combo deck. It's perfectly, it's really good in the Eye of the Storm combo decks and different Heartbeat combos. It seems great in this. You just really need to find your mana accelerants in your pieces. You want to get 7 mana in Enduring Ideal or 7 mana in Form of the Dragon. It seems fantastic.
Asahara draws that land off the top. He's up to 5.
Tick-tock.
Yeah, Carson's got a couple Elders. He can reshuffle off the top. What does Carson need to get? I guess Carson needs to get enough threats into his hand that he can afford to have Zerzwerding hit the table?
But I think Frank's holding Yosei Greater Good.
Is that enough?
Keeps Asahara tapped down if he can get it out ahead of the...
Yeah, sure. But long enough. Oh, there's Felwar Stone. That seems good.
So Enduring Ideal happens next turn, provided he can find one more land. Which I guess he won't find, because... he knows what his
The
next
land in
will
his
be.
hand.
Oh, there's there a land in his hand?
Yes. What phase are we in? Is this his main phase?
I'd have to check with Brendan, I'm not sure.
Secures main phase, Brendan?
And I think he takes Felwar Stone here. I don't know what he's really thinking about. He'll have 7 mana, and he'll be able to cast Enduring Ideal next turn. I mean, I guess he's playing around Mana Leak.
Yeah, Felwar Stone even leaves. He gets to leave up Mana Leak mana.
Any cards in hand? Cool.
Does Karsten have Mana Leaks? Does Karsten have any permission at all? When he's got blue mana, he's got gifts.
No.
Karsten has no permission at all.
Right.
His plan is just to react, but you can't react to Enduring Ideal. That resolves once. It's going off. And Karsten, he can't win the game before Enduring Ideal comes online. I mean, he knows it's next turn with a land. So he's got to I think he's got a piece of hand together that can survive Zer's Weirding. With that top, he might be able to. Goryo's Vengeance, Yosei, and Gifts.
He's been floating a Greater Good, or does he have the Greater Good in his hand?
I think it's in his hand. He shuffles all that away. Rending Vines is what he really needs to come up with. Just the one, right?
Yep.
I mean, I think he could gift for a Rending Vines, Hanakami, Soulless Revival package, but I don't know that he has time. I guess, does that gift still work after Zer's Weirding hits the table? I guess it would.
Yeah, Gifts is not a draw. It's put.
So Frank has Gifts and Yosei and Goryo's Vengeance in his hand. I think that Gifts allows him to get access to Rending Vines even after an Enduring Ideal resolves. Although I don't know if he can keep up with it, and then there's these confiscates that come into play. It's not going to be like last game where...
There's a Hanakami, so...
Interesting. It does not look like it's going to be like last game where Zer's Weirding hit the table and Karsten was forced to immediately scoop. Right? Zer's Weirding caused those scoops because Karsten had nothing relevant to the game in his hand and knew that Asahara could just deny him any relevant draws that he might have.
Asahara could also just play, Felwar Stone to the wall and get a Formula Dragon right away and just say, you have 4 turns to kill me.
But he's gonna see Dragon. I mean, the Dragon's big enough to attack and kill you if you get Formula Dragon in play. Yosei, Goryo's Vengeance, and Gifts ungiven. That is Frank Karsten's hand. He's gonna dig with the top. He can count. He knows Asahara's got 6 mana and the potential to cast Enduring Ideal next turn. We know he does indeed have the 7th land and the Enduring Ideal. But I don't know that it's ball game this time. I think Karsten still gets to play and try to slog through that. I'd be surprised if Karsten can pull it off, but you know what? If anybody can, it's Frank Karsten. There it is. Oh, because Asahara had double Felwar Stone last time. That telling time revealed 2 of them. Wow. That's why he was taking so long. He had to decide whether he wanted a 3rd Felwar Stone or a 2nd Enduring Ideal.
Well, once you cast the first one, the second one's not that good.
Right. I mean, I guess he was like, is Karsten gonna... I mean, he can't counter it. I guess Extraction, it wouldn't matter. So he eventually figured out there's no scenario where he needs a 2nd Ideal. So what do you get? It's going to resolve. We know, and he knows, there's nothing Frank Karsten can do to prevent that spell from resolving. But what does he go get? Is it Zer's Weirding? Does he just go straight for Form of the Dragon?
He can't go for Form of the Dragon.
I agree. I don't think
you're
Form of
right.
the Dragon's right. So is it Zer's Weirding? Is it Confiscate? Fetters doesn't seem relevant. Does it Genju? I think it's Weirding.
Is there any relevant mana he can confiscate there? I mean, he might be able to use Confiscate for a turn or two to keep Frank off of the necessary mana to
Yeah, it's hard to tell what
be
Frank's
able
lands are.
to do stuff, yeah.
What exactly are Frank's lands? It's clearly Forest Island. I see a swamp.
Although Frank does have a Tri-Builder to sack and
Get whatever he
another
needs.
land, yeah.
It's true. Although if he lets the ideal resolve, he can confiscate the Elder.
So I guess Asahara's trying to decide here whether or not he wants to just sit back on that mana leak or whether he wants to just go all
Huh.
go in on the Enduring
There he
Ideal.
goes.
There it is.
Enduring Ideal. 7 mana. Epic spell.
Frank's going to respond by casting Gifts Ungiven because he doesn't want Ivory Mask to hit play. He can't let it resolve before the Gifts Ungiven.
You are absolutely right. That's an excellent point. And then that means Asahara's going to know a lot of Carson's hand when he decides whether to get Search Weirding or not. Yeah, Carson must respond with gifts here, or he's totally screwed.
And I think that's what Asahara was trying to figure out is could he wait a turn, play it, play the Fellwar Stone, draw another land.
Yeah, he'd have to count on drawing a land, though, which
He'd have to
doesn't
count
sound
on
like the
drawing
right
a land, and
play.
he'd have to count on Karsten not having 3 mana available on top of his.
Right.
On top
I mean,
of
Carson's
Gifts
at the
mana.
point where he could play gifts and pay for Mana Leak next turn. I think Asahara's play is right. I think you just run out Enduring Ideal.
Sure.
Hope Carson's hand isn't good enough. He's got to be disappointed that Gifts is going to resolve now.
It's so scary though, because now it's just, do I win or no?
Well, obviously it's scary,
He
but that's
has
the
no-
deck that he's playing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he knew what weapon he took into battle.
There's a new little addition to the gifts package, Recollect.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Gifted in Type 1 and Regrowth is amazing in those splits.
This is just 1G more than, or
Yeah,
G
fine.
more than,
No, 1.
yeah.
Alright, he gets Hanakami, Soulless Revival,
Rending Vines
Rending
and
Vines,
Recollect.
and Recollect.
This game is over, right?
Is it? Who wins if this game is over?
It depends on how much green mana Frank has.
So your theory is that Karsten, with that gifts, can kill every enchantment?
Yes. That's obvious. That's actually what happens. So the question is whether or not he has enough green to do it.
Right.
There's 1 green right now. I assume Asahara is going to get Confiscate, steal that forest. He does have a Sakura Tri-Builder and a top going to find.
But he's going to get
additional
confiscated. He can get confiscated like 4 turns in a row.
green. Right.
What do you give him in the split here?
You make him go through the most mana possible. You give him. Well, you can't give him the Rending Vines.
So you give him Recollect and Hanakami?
That sounds right. That's the most mana intensive
Right.
series of events. Does Recollect 2G? Does it have 2 green in the casting cost?
No,
Or
it's
just 1
2G.
green? It is 2G.
In R&D speak, it is
Not
2G.
GG.
2 and a green if you prefer.
2 and a green is definitely what I prefer. Sahara's apologizing to the table judge for taking a long time to make this decision, which is basically going to determine who goes through to the finals to play against Katsuhiro Mori.
Yep.
What's happening on the message boards?
I'll go check.
Counting up
Yeah,
mana.
counting the mana. Trying to figure out how mana intensive is that engine.
Remember, Enduring Ideal still on the stack.
Right. This is all as a response to the ideal.
He could actually steal the Sakura Tri-Builder too,
I know.
The Elder was not sacked in response, although Looks like he's giving him Hanakami and Recollect.
What's going on in the forums is that they're giving me a lesson on how Seedborn Muse actually works.
Yep, I was ready for that. It's the other player's upkeep, correct?
And it's not triggered. It happens during the untap step.
Okay. Oh, so it wouldn't have actually Yosei wouldn't have.
Yosei beats Seedborn Muse.
Right, Yosei trumps Seedborn Muse. Thanks, guys. Good eye out there.
All right, so he gets Soulless Revival and Hanakami.
And now we resolve Enduring Ideal.
And what do you get? Confiscate?
Confiscate for a forest.
Do you just go for form? I mean, he could just start running out forms and think he wins that race. He doesn't know there's a dragon and a vengeance. Wow, he's racing. I think I like that play. He's calculated how quickly Frank Karsten can cast Rending Vines, and he can stay ahead of him with those forms of the dragon. The scary part is we know Karsten has Goryo's Vengeance in his hand and Yosei in his hand. There's no dragons in his graveyard, though.
Then after 5.
There's no dragons in Frank's graveyard, right?
Right.
Top.
So Karsten can play Yosei, then he takes 5, then he gets Yosei confiscated, so that doesn't work. He can...
Oh, he's got a Yosei in hand.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But it'll get confiscated. It's not hasty. He needs it in his graveyard is where he needs it, but he doesn't have time. He can play Greater Good.
So whatever he plays is going to get confiscated on Asahara's turn.
I think so.
So right, his next few plays are confiscate whatever you do, take 5.
Or he can get another form if he doesn't need to confiscate. Right? He kind of, I mean, a second form is relevant too.
Right. How much does form do? Does it do 5? So it does kill dragons.
It also has, it can just kill dragons. I think confiscating them is better. It doesn't get,
yeah.
I think.
Steal your dragon, do 5 to you. Seems much better than kill your dragon.
Now, and I haven't done the Rending Vines math myself. I haven't looked to figure out how quickly, like, can Frank actually reclaim? It speeds things up a bit, I think. Yeah, Karsten draws reclaim, so he can...
1 green, 2 green.
He's 2 green mana?
He can't attack.
Nope.
So it's a very interesting end game.
So in order to get the Rending Vines, he has to get it back with Hanakami, right? So he has to play Hanakami, sacrifice it, and that leaves him without green mana, or leaves him with 1 green mana. So he can play Hanakami, sack it, and Rending Vines, I think, but that's all he does.
Well, it requires green mana to activate Hanakami, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think he's got 3. The land to his right now, is that not one of the green legendary lands? Looks green on my screen.
Oh, maybe that is an Okina.
He's going to play Reclaim here. He's going to reclaim Rending Vines and flip top for it? That was unfortunate. No, he reclaims Soulless Revival.
Right, and he wants to get the combo going. Rending Vines does cost 2 green.
Look at the
It's 1 GG?
Rending Vines is 1 GG.
Okay, Recollect is 2G, but Rending Vines is 1 GG.
To that, I top. And in response to look at top 3 cards, I sack.
Oh, shuffles away his top. Desperately digging. Gets black mana.
Sets up his combo.
Well, it doesn't actually matter. I'm going to respond to look at top 3 cards again.
Frank talked about doing stuff like this in the before the event, responding to top with gifts.
I didn't realize he had 2 gifts ungiven. Oh, that's what he reclaimed. He reclaimed gifts ungiven. Oh, that totally makes sense. Oh, wow, he gifts for 2 cards.
That is masterful.
He gifted for 2 cards so the dragons would go into his graveyard. Wow. I didn't even know you could do that.
So look at top 3 cards.
That's
fantastic. Awesome.
Asahara is at 5.
Great magic from Frank Karsten. He gifts for 2 cards. Asahara has to pick 2 to go to the graveyard, and then Frank gets the rest. There are, 2 to go to the graveyard. There's only 2 there to pick. So those dragons wind up in Frank Karsten's graveyard, and now he can untap. Next turn, he can Goryo's Vengeance for the win.
So it's just been pointed out, Frank actually made a mistake that turn.
Does he have access to Greater Good?
He had Greater Good in his hand.
You sure?
He played Greater Good, sacked the elf. Discarded.
You sure he has Greater Good in his hand?
We saw Greater Good earlier, didn't we?
I don't think so.
Well, if he had Greater Good in his hand,
yeah, then he could
have won.
I don't think he has Greater Good in his hand.
Greater Good in his hand? Anyone out there? I'm getting a bunch of shrugs. Oh, it's floating on top of his deck.
Yeah, he had it floating for a while.
I'm getting the signal, but it's floating on top of his deck. He could have Greater Good. He could have played
shuffled away.
Right. He could have played Greater Good, sacked his Sakura Tribelder, drawn 1 card, discarded his Yosei.
Oh, sure.
And then Goryo's Vengeance to his Yosei, and won right then and there.
I think this play wins, though, right? What is Asahara is looking for?
So does that play.
So Asahara knows that. Well, he hasn't actually seen Karsten's hand, right?
Right.
We know Karsten has a Goryo's Vengeance in his hand, which is just going to bring out a lethal Kakusho. Asahara has no way of knowing that, so he's going to go for Zer's Weirding, and I think when he sees Karsten's hand, he's going to realize that he's lost.
He has to assume it's there at this point.
Open hand.
You got it? Yes. There it is. Goryo's Vengeance. Frank Karsten wins!
Clear to the finals. Congratulations,
wow.
Frank.
Great magic. Enduring Ideal resolved, and it was not good enough. You don't see Enduring Ideal beat very often, but Frank Karsten just did it. Karsten gifted to send dragons to the graveyard. Goryo's Vengeance for the win. That beats Form of the Dragon. Wow. Frank Karsten will be playing for the 2005 World Championship.
Karsten, go ahead.
Yeah, the spirit of John Finkel was not strong enough.
It was enough to get him through the quarterfinals, which was an impossible matchup, to be fair.
And he was inches away against a lesser player. I think Asahara would indeed have won that 5th game, but not against Frank Karsten. So it'll be Karsten against Mori. It'll be Greater Good against Ghazi Glare. That is your World Championship matchup on the individual side. And on the team side, Team USA versus Team Japan.
Is that up next? That's up next, right?
That is indeed what we will be doing next. We watched them draft their decks earlier today. Team USA seemed a little down toward the end of the draft. I haven't had the chance to get out of the booth to talk to the players, but we're now going to bring out the teams, and whew, we'll find out. Wow. We're going to bring out the teams. And then we're going to find out if Japan can take step 2 in their effort to pull off the Triple Crown. Only twice in the history of Magic has the same country claimed Player of the Year, Team title, Individual title.
And that country's been America each time.
And both times it was the United States.
And the one time where it could have been someone else, America stepped up.
In the team competition.
In the team competition at Berlin to stop that from happening.
They've got the opportunity to do exactly that again. It's like, for those of you American football fans, it's like the Dolphins, right? The 1971 Miami Dolphins are legendary for being the only team to ever go undefeated all the way through to the Super Bowl win. And every year they're watching, is somebody going to do it? And somebody steps up and does it. The United States could step up and stop the Japan juggernaut here. They could. Will they?
Well, we have the deck lists, and we saw the draft. But so let's role play a little. I'm Neil Reeves.
All right. I'm Masashi Oiso.
You're Masashi Oiso. What do you got? I've got a Disembowel and a Last Gasp.
A couple of Bell Tower Sphinxes, Induced Paranoia, Tidewater, Dismisser, and Trancer.
I've got Elvish Skysweeper for your...
I got 2 Last Gasps.
Got 2 Last Gasps. Okay, I've got 2
And a Necroplasm.
I do have a Moldervine Cloak, which I can get onto my...
It's not bad. I get a couple Stinkweed Imps and a Strands of Undeath.
Graveshell Scarab.
Surku?
Ooh, that's interesting. I have Twisted Justice.
Huh.
Twisted Justice.
Yeah, you're going to be drawing some cards.
And, you're blue-black. You don't have a lot of guys in play at one time.
You might get a big one.
I might get a big one.
Now, that match is not quite as lopsided as I thought after the draft. Oh, Oiso does have 2 lurking informants.
Yeah, he gets those out early.
Psychic Drain, Perplex, Drooling Grudion.
His deck seems very good. We've got one last gasp. We've got Ribbons of Night. Ribbons of Night can take down pretty much anything here. We've got 2 Fists of Ironwood, 2 Farseeks, 2 Siege Worms. Get an early Siege Worm. He can have turn 3 Siege Worm. If he hits 2 1-drops, he can turn 4 Siege Worm pretty consistently, I would imagine.
It's funny.
Shell Scarab.
It's actually hard to tell whether Oiso is blue-black beatdown or blue-black milling. It's like he's got some flyers and he's got some removal, but not a ridiculous amount, like no Snapping Drakes. On the other hand, his only milling cards are 1 Entrancer and 1 Psychic Drain. I guess the 2 Lurking Informants count a little bit. So I guess he's more of the mill version of the archetype, but I mean he's an Entrancer and maybe another card short of having a really good example of that archetype.
Let's move the role-playing over to the B seat, but I don't want to be Antonio DeRosa.
Hey, I don't want to be DeRosa.
Give me Morofuji's deck.
All right, fine.
All right. So I've got 3 Viashino Fangtails. What do you got?
2 Galvanic Arcs. Is that enough?
I've got 2 Fates Fetters. I've got a Veteran Armorer, which will get my Fangtails up out of range of that.
I have Courier Hawks.
Ooh, Courier Hawks. I've got 2 Goblin Spelunkers. I've got a Fiery Conclusion.
I do have 3 Guardians of Vitu-Ghazi. They're big. I only got 2 forests in the deck to cast them off of, though, and 1 Celestia Sanctuary. Oh, I also have Celestia Signet, so 4 green sources plus a Terrarion.
I have a Firemane Angel.
I have a Watch Wolf.
I still have a Firemane Angel.
Off my 4.5 green sources.
I think Morofuji definitely.
2 Sandsowers?
Sandsower is actually very good.
He doesn't get enough guys into play, though.
Does he have any Scatter the Seeds or anything like that?
No.
He has no way to generate guys. He's just relying on Sandsower.
His guys.
Draw some guys fairly.
Yep.
And against 3 Fangtails, it might be a little difficult to keep those guys on the table. Sandsowers might not be that great.
Yeah, DeRosa wanted to try to get the controllers red-white deck. He wanted the fatties and the walls, the 04 wall, but it didn't really come together. This actually happened in the last round of the Swiss. Team USA was playing against Norway, and DeRosa, about halfway through the draft, realized, my deck sucks. And he sort of sacrificed the second half of his draft to help his teammates set up their matchups.
Well,
he started using his picks, concentrating more on helping get good cards into their picks or counter drafting from their opponents.
I think going with the Guardians of Vitu-Ghazi gives him some hope also. I mean it's bigger than anything that. Although Morofuji still has 2 Face Fighters. I mean, he has everything. He has everything but the Galvanic Arcs.
Right.
So this matchup seems I think favors the Japanese.
Okay.
And then we have
I have Ichiro Shimura's deck.
All right. I've got a Bell Tower Sphinx.
Rotworm.
I think I've got a Rotworm too here, don't I? No, I don't. I have a Compulsive Research and a Drift of Phantasms. I have a Snapping Drake. I have 2 Tattered Drakes and 2 Tidewater Minions.
What are the good cards?
3 Demir House cards.
Oh, that's good.
How much black do you have to block my guys?
I have a Last Gasp, a Mausoleum Turnkey, and a Sewer Dreg. Sewer Dreg's a smart inclusion. The card doesn't always make the cut, but against those house cards, the Japanese saw it totally belongs in Shimura's main deck.
Strands of Undeath is pretty interesting here.
He's also running a Corruptor, Woodwraith Corruptor. Wait, which one's the Corruptor? Am I thinking of the Strangler? It's the mediocre 2/2?
Woodwraith Corruptor is the 3/6 guy that turns forests.
That guy's excellent. I didn't even notice that get drafted.
I didn't know. I think we probably thought it was a Strangler.
That's really good. Also, Vulture Zombie, don't forget.
Yeah, Vulture Zombie. I've got a Putrefy. I've got a Disembowel. I've got a Clinging Darkness.
There's some black fatties into this.
I've also got a Brain Spoil. Got the Strands of Undeath to catch some stuff, stick it in your hands. Didn't end up playing the Evangel. Ended up being a counter draft.
Yeah, it is Argus Kaz in the sideboard here. I still don't understand why they didn't give Argus Kaz to Morofuji's deck. I think it's better than Fate's Fetters.
I mean, John, I would not say that John has no chance here.
No, but I think the Japanese have the advantage in all 3 matches.
Yeah, I think they're advantage in each match. John's also playing Junk Troller. What's he playing Junk Troller for? Just to slow the beats?
I guess. I mean, there's no This deck isn't even blue. It's black-green with 1 plains.
Oh, very interesting. What's the 1 plains for?
Plains and Selesnya Signet for...
Faith's Fetters?
Oh, it must be a gold card. Selesnya Guildmage.
Oh, that's...
To activate the other half of the Selesnya
That's what we
Guildmage.
had talked about.
Yeah, that's smart. You play it. I mean, it's GG for a 2/2 that pumps people up is fine.
I believe it's a GG for a GG.
Also, the planes can be used for the Centaur safeguard. I don't think that's the plan A.
Yeah,
this is a nice deck. The green beatdown elements are good too. Double Transluminate, Siege Worm, double Scatter, 2 Null Mage Shepherds, an Overwhelm, Moss Dog, 2 Fists of Ironwood, Wayfinder, Caryatid. This deck looks really good.
Yeah, I think John's gonna have trouble. He really is. He's really putting all his eggs in the House Guard basket here.
But there's black creatures. Golgari Rotworm blocks, Vulture Zombie blocks, Corruptor blocks, Sewer Dreg blocks, Turnkey blocks, and gets Gather Courage potentially. Yeah, I've seen him have a lot of success.
In the Mirror House Guard,
does he have Snapping Drake?
Double Mulligan. Yeah, he does have 1 Snapping Drake.
Yeah, I saw him kill a lot of people yesterday during the team day with Snapping Drakes and House Guards, and even with just the Infiltrators. He'd be like 1-3, 1-3, 1-3.
He had 5 Infiltrators in one game, in one draft yesterday, against an opponent with 4 Vidalcan Entrancers.
Right.
And
the Infiltrator beatdown was too fast. That was against Norway, wasn't it?
No, I think that was against the Slovak Republic team.
Okay.
And but he just Entrancer, and he's like, House Guard, 1-3, 1-3, 1-3, take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4, and he got 4 of them in play.
Yeah,
and
Snapping Drakes and House Guards do that even better.
The blue-black deck was just not equipped to deal damage.
Right.
So it was just equipped to mill, and his damage clock ended up being quicker than. And that's,
so he's had success with
that's
that,
a card they've liked in that mirror match, actually.
This is not the best version of that deck that he's drafted.
No, not at all.
Not even close.
No, it's the cards just weren't there for these guys. Oh my! Look at Neil's face.
He's just got his head in his hands. I was waiting for the chance to mulligan, I think.
I guess so.
No, he's waiting to draw his opening hand. Yeah, he and Oiso are resolving their mulligans. We're getting ready. I mean, the players they have sat down at their tables. They're shuffling up, resolving mulligans, and we're mere minutes away from this World's Team Final.
Not surprisingly, Oiso and Reeves are in the hero chairs.
I guess that's true.
This is a pretty exciting. It's a pretty exciting final.
What's my count?
Okay, we'll go in about 2 minutes.
So what's it going to take for the Americans to win this?
Sounds good.
And what's it going to take here for the Americans to win this if they want to come back?
I mean, it's not that lopsided, right? These matchups are all advantage Japan, but what are they, 60-40 advantaged? And then, I mean, on talent, I think they add up to more talent than what the Japanese have.
Right. 60-40 sounds fair. The Galvanic Arcs can go a long way against Morphege's edition of Fangtails.
Right. 60-40 is not good news. I mean, 2 hours ago it was a coin flip.
Right.
And then they drafted their decks.
Are these guys playing 3 of 5 here?
No, it's 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3s. Each game is 2. Each match is best 2 out of 3, and then whichever team wins 2 matches is the World Team title champion.
So anything could happen.
Yeah, I think so. And Team USA has had a lot of success here. They've won 7 of the 10 World's Team competitions. This thing's been running since 95. 7 times Team USA has taken home the crown.
Right, and Neil has crafted many a silk purse out of a sow's ear of a draft over his career. I mean, he's
absolutely true.
He's I think on the short list of people. Your third gets sick for the Team Pro Tour. Neil Reeves is pretty much the first guy you call.
He's available?
Well, if in some dream world, he's available.
Okay.
But you would obviously pick Neil if you could just summon someone to be the third on your team. Neil is very very high on that list.
I have a lot of respect for him as a player. He's a fun guy too.
And he it's interesting in the draft with on his teams with Bob Marr. You would assume Bob Marr called those drafts, but no, it was Neil.
Yeah.
And Neil said what he would do is, so let's say I'm Neil in the middle, and this computer is Gary Wise or Dave Williams. He said he would just sort of sit there in the draft like this, and you'd be Bob, and they'd be making the picks, and then every now and then he'd look over and go, "You, take that."
The Gary Wise beats never get old.
Well, it's not really a beat. It's just you had two of the best minds for draft. I mean, Neil felt like he could really call a draft, and then Bob would make a lot of the decisions and a lot of the a lot of the gameplay that they would do with people.
Well, these guys played once before. They played on Saturday. It was round 3. Japan had to win. The USA had a little bit of room to maneuver. They could afford a loss. They did lose. In fact, they were swept by the Japanese.
And what they
Now it's time
thought was
for
a
the
close
rematch.
matchup.
Now it's the rematch. It's the showdown everybody has been waiting for all week. These were the two teams Tuesday at the player barbecue. These were the teams that were expected to be playing here. These are the teams that are playing here. And now it's time for them to play the games. So stay tuned. We will be right back with live coverage of the World Team Championship Clash.